Hello, it is October 22nd, and it is approximately 9:30 p.m. in the evening. And I wanted to just take the time to go ahead and kick back, relax, and share a few of my personal thoughts, discoveries, and some of the research that I've been doing over the last few months. Now, it is a very, very exciting time, ladies and gentlemen. I have since released what I am referring to as NEST, which is New Era Scientology Processing for Thetans. And let me tell you, this processing is beyond belief. There is pure, raw power and case gain to be had with this auditing. Per capita, every auditing session of this that I have delivered, and a select few others, has produced 3 to 4 times the case gain and charge, or associated charge, I should say, gotten off of the case. And that is a phenomenal thing that has never before been seen. And in the ancillary factors to this are it is easy and simple to run. Any dummy that could pick up and study the subject could run this and produce case gain, and not just case gain, but the case gain that before it would take a standard auditor of many, many years experience along the lines of a class 8 or a class 12 to obtain. Now, in a way, I planned for this. I was looking and searching and researching a way that, for one, I could discover what I believe to be and assumed were many outpoints in the upper bridge of Scientology. Dianetics as a technology and counseling was always very, very sound. But unfortunately, we begin to lose our way as we got into the upper OT levels of Scientology. And that is a demonstrable fact. That is a fact. And most importantly, around OT3 is when we begin to lose people. They begin to fall off of lines, and they became either disinterested with the subject or turn the subject around entirely. You know, around that period of time, around 1987, 88, shortly after my passing, the financial police began to roll around, shut down franchises, in producing upstat organizations. You're talking about the brick and mortar institutions and organizations of Dianetics and Scientology were tore down. And why this is, I'm not going to get into extensively in this talk because I have to limit it to 15 minutes due to where I'll be posting it. But I would like to say that in the process of looking into all these outpoints, I discovered NEST, the unification principle, and those underlying themes and processes and techniques that are inherent in NEST. And there is a lot of technology behind that. Pretty much the whole summation of the Scientology bridge is within one simple and easy to run procedure, which I will have to say I aimed with in the release of Infinity Procedure and did slightly fall short of that mark. I cannot deny that. But the intentions were pure and the research was pure, and the ideal and the scene I was looking at with that is essentially what I was aiming for. Didn't quite pull it off, but who cares? But anyway, back to NEST, which I should say forms the basis. And just thinking about it kind of throwing me off there. Triple power. The single most powerful rundown in Scientology. I can reasonably state and say that this thing can produce almost as much case gain as the whole entire standard bridge. And maybe even a third or a fourth of the way through it. Don't hold me to that statement because I run quite differently in session. And then a few other people that are testing this out do run quite a bit different in session because they have the years of auditing experience and auditing under their belts. So, but I can safely say that this is unlike anything that is ever seen. Just imagine if you could almost literally overnight, in the period of 1 month, imagine you just simply went into power. And what I mean by power is you have an absolute ability to comfortably be there and maintain your own space and viewpoint and your own self-determinism when it comes to memory, recall, communication, problems, fixed conditions, upsets in the past, and then all the way through the dynamics, able to hold your space all along the dynamics and their various interactions and interconnections, and the physical universe itself. Within the physical universe itself, with matter, energy, space, time, and experience as a static being. And yet you could go into sheer, pure, raw power along all those different facets. Would be quite incredible, wouldn't it? And indeed it is. So, and in any event, those are some of my thoughts, technology-wise, and some of the discoveries, tech-wise. I have mentioned and covered those before, and it can be a bit redundant, but a lot of these things do tie over, and they do carry over. But all that being said, moving on to, I am going through a sort of a rebranding. I am moving the majority of my social media activity and from the Facebook platform to minds.com. It's a simpler to use program. We can maintain, regulate, and compartmentalize which data we would like to appear to the public without all the ads, the political nonsense. And initially I started a Facebook account for that purpose. I probably should have done it with a fan page versus my own personal account, because then I had to block general public access because we didn't want all the anti-Scientologists, media, and just a general public getting on there and either disrespecting, arguing, or detracting from the purposes and intent of getting technology in here on the planet and disseminating Scientology on a larger basis. Now, so I'll be moving over to Minds, and there is another platform that offhand I do not recall the name. Oh, a gentleman, thankfully, on Minds, and if you're listening, thank you very much, sir, for sending me the recommendation for this. It's a .tv, it's a tube type channel, similar to YouTube, but it's more along the lines of minds.com, but it's specifically for video and video channels. So I will more than likely be doing a live channel and also have my own channel on this other platform. And when I do have the name, again offhand, I will announce that as well. And on a more personal note, ladies and gentlemen, unlike last lifetime, I did put up a lot of barriers. I did have a large organizational structure to buffer between me, the general public, the media, the government, the personal attacks. And a lot of those barriers no longer exist. We live in quite different times. So I'm trying to tear down some of those barriers myself. I want to have a very close and deep interpersonal relationship with as much of the public and the people that I work with and audit with as I can. And via the means of telecommunications, that makes a lot of these things now possible. When in 1950 it would have been a Scientologist's wet dream to have access to telecommunications like this. And unfortunately we didn't at the time, and we do now. So I believe that we should all, as Scientologists, utilize that to the best of our abilities. For instance, how much of this technology could we have disseminated, could have been made available to the world if the Church of Scientology, for instance, with all the resources. Now, granted, I'm doing all this here out of my own pocket. I'm handling all my own communications, everything, etc., etc., all the way down the line. I do myself. One man. Now, imagine what the Church of Scientology could have done with the amount of resources they have on hand. with Facebook marketing, YouTube, things of this nature. Even I can. I could put myself on digital billboards. I could have put, and can, and probably still will, put myself in front of half the planet overnight. And Scientology, the church specifically, could have done this since the early 2000s, could have continuously put themselves in front of almost the entirety of the world overnight and on a daily basis. That is just that is the amount of reach, ladies and gentlemen, that is possible with this digital and physical telecommunications technology. It's powerful. It's powerful. And that in conjunction with field auditors, brick and mortar, organizations, we could begin to audit and disseminate and reach the entirety of the planet. We can begin to branch off into the subjects of parascientology. For instance, the unification principle that I mentioned is one of the basics in the physical universe. And if we applied that to physics, we would have anti-gravity and technologies beyond conception at this point. Except maybe in the imagination of others and in sci-fi novels and shows. But all you see there on this TV, Altered Carbon and all these other sci-fi shows, the new Star Trek, all this stuff is a very distinct and real possibility within the next 40 to 50 years, potentially even of our lifetimes. But those are things that can be drawn out and discovered with the application of Scientology, these other fields of study. Organize them. Get them into fundamentals and basics instead of being a shipshod, science, philosophy, or technology. And you just have waste, inequality, and inequality as well in, application and broader use of these technologies. It's almost sickening how much we waste as a human populace. You know what we throw away more than anything on this planet? Food. Yet there's people going hungry all over the world. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'd just like to say thank you. I'm really, really glad to be back, to be doing this. And we used to say that many are called, few are chosen. And I want to also make a further announcement and let you in on a little bit of a secret. That call, ladies and gentlemen, is about to go out once more. And with that, I thank you all. I love you all. And with the greatest degree of affinity, reality, and communication, I bid you a good evening.